Why should we have to worry about someone taking such umbrage with our opinion that you have to worry about being shot and potentially killed? I mean, what's America coming to? Guys, I just got the report that Charlie Kirk, one of the leaders at Turning Point USA, a very popular conservative on social media and everything, that he had been shot in the neck at a speaking event at Utah, and I saw the video where it actually happened, where right as he was shot in the neck, and it's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. First and foremost, I pray, Lord, please save Charlie, please heal him, please bring him through this, Lord. Lord, I ask you to be with his family, just give them comfort as they deal with this. For I pray in Christ's name, amen. I don't have any words. I'm speechless. I mean, all this guy did was, he was a talking head. He had a lot of very unpopular views in mainstream America today. He was a acclaimed Christian. He was against probably all of the liberal leanings in society. And, he had a very, very strong opinions and spoke out against them. But he did it in a very logical way. He had facts. He was an excellent speaker. He had the truth behind him. It just so happened that his opinion was extremely unpopular. And to have someone shoot him at an event where you're giving college kids with different viewpoints the opportunity to come up in front of a microphone and discuss different topics and policies with him, to have an open discussion to work through, differences between left and right, to have someone come in and shoot him is just, it just blows my mind. I've made my viewpoints on a lot of different subjects well known on our YouTube channel. A lot of my opinions are probably not popular, and there's been a lot of people in the comments that have let me know. But I mean, it's just my opinion. It has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. Why should Charlie Kirk or myself, because I mean, we're in the public eye, why should we have to worry about someone taking such umbrage with our opinion that you have to worry about being shot and potentially killed? I mean, what's America coming to? That unless our opinion aligns with, mainstream media and the liberal leanings of society in America, what's this world coming to, that if our opinions don't align with those, that we need to be in fear of our life? We should have the right to express our opinions. That's one of the principles that this country was founded on, the right to free speech. I'm not saying that anybody else has got to agree with me. And Charlie Kirk, I never once heard him suggest that anybody listening to him had to agree with him. He was just offering his viewpoint and giving people facts and things to think about in order to help shape their viewpoint. But that didn't mean that you had to agree with him. It blows my mind, and I pray. I just prayed then, I'll pray again, I'll pray tonight, I'll pray tomorrow. I'll keep on praying that Charlie Kirk recovers and that he and his family come out of this better and stronger than ever. Guys, I implore you, whether you agree with me or if you don't disagree with me, let other people have a right to their opinions. It's not hurting you if someone believes differently than you. It's not hurting you a bit. You know, people voicing their opinion should never, ever rise to the level of violence. Well, we're just about done with this farm right here. We just got a couple more passes. And believe it or not, our average yield has gone up as we come up the hill. We're now looking at a farm average of 223 bushels per acre. Like I said earlier, I was expecting this farm to be good. I wasn't expecting it to be, I think, the best field of corn I've ever harvested. And just so y'all know, this is my happy face. I'm speechless. I mean, I shouldn't be. You know, I've preached, you know, over and over again throughout the years that the good Lord will provide and He will take care of us. Now, will this farm keep us out of the red this entire year? No, I don't believe it will. But it helps. It helps. And who knows? This field and these yields might be the difference in us being able to farm again next year. I mean, who knows how it's all going to play out? You can't really truly see God's plan unless you're looking in the rearview mirror to see how everything played out. But I fully recognize that 1 inch of rain we got on this farm, this good yield, I mean, it could be the difference. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all plays out in the end. I just seen reports that Charlie Kirk passed away, and nothing. Haven't seen anything on the news, you know, actually 100% verifiable. But from all indications, it looks like Charlie Kirk has passed away, and I'm very upset about him passing away. I'm upset about what it means in the grand scheme of things and everything, but you know what, I'm not upset for Charlie Kirk. You know, Charlie Kirk was a self-professed Christian, very open and honest about his faith. I firmly believe that he believed that Jesus died on the cross for him, and I firmly believe that just a few minutes ago Charlie Kirk walked through the pearly gates of heaven and is now with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So it's not a sad day for him. But it is.
Are you taking the header off to go over there, or are you going to keep it on?
That's a long ways to go. We really need to take it off.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be safe if you didn't.
But it is a sad day for his family, everybody that knew him and loved him, and you know everything that he meant to everybody else. It's a very sad day for them. It's a sad day for all the people whose lives he's touched in his career. It's a sad day for all the people whose lives he could have touched had he lived. So, not a sad day for Charlie. I know he's at his ultimate destination that he always wanted to be at, but for everybody else, it's a sad day for America that, you know, somebody who can't separate their emotion from politics and turns to murder to silence somebody that they don't agree with. And you know, I'm just really assuming right now of the shooter's motives and everything, but I mean that seems like the most likely reason. Sad day for America, but it's not the first time that it's happened, and it's not going to be the last time that it's happened. Just, everybody, please join me in praying for Charlie's family, everybody that knew him and loved him, his wife, his children. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had either 3 or 4 young children that will now grow up without a father. Please join me in praying for them, that the Lord watches over them, provides for them, protects them, gives them peace. Thanks. All right, we're still not done with this farm. We got like 3 acres and 2 small fields over there across the creek. Now I know the yields on it's not going to be good. Got poor stand, a lot of it got run over and everything else. But still, the average on this farm was absolutely remarkable. I mean, it's showing 223 bushels per acre. If that stands, I had to look back on my records. That might be the best corn average we've ever had on a farm. So, man, we're blessed. So, anyway, we're gonna make tracks up the road their city limits of Jackson, and we're going to have some more good corn up there. Don't think it's going to be as good as this, but I think it's going to be a whole lot better than what we did back in Crockett County. So we'll bring you back. Oh my gosh, we just got moved over here. That might not have been the worst time I've ever had on the road, but it wasn't dang far. I mean, it was car after car after car after car. I did more riding down the road on the side of the road than I did on actual pavement. Note to self, do not try to transport equipment again during rush hour in the city of Jackson. All these subdivisions that are getting out here is just, every year we get more and more traffic on our small country roads. All right, this is our last farm of the year. We got, I think, 113 acres of corn left. And here on Smith Family, we're going to start down here in the bottom. This is going to be our highest yielding corn. This is going to be our wettest corn. This is going to be the last of our 68, 39, I believe. The rest of the corn up there on the hill is going to be 112-day corn, whereas this is 118-day corn, and it's probably going to be drier than a popcorn farm. You probably ask yourself, well, why are you harvesting the wet corn first? You'll harvest the dry corn, give the wet corn another day to dry down before you get to it. Well, we're doing it for grain bin management. You know, we got one bin we're putting wet corn in. You know, it's anywhere from probably 17 to 21%. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to put a layer of dry corn on top of that wet corn and then have this bottom for last, and then put a layer of wet corn on top of that dry corn to where we've got wet, dry, wet. That's just going to be a nightmare trying to manage the moisture of the corn and get it dried down properly. So we're going to go ahead and get all this wet corn picked and in the bin, and then we're going to finish off our bins with a layer of real dry corn on top. Now, I don't expect this farm, even down here in this bottom, I don't expect it to do what the last farm just did. Like I said, that last farm, it caught a rain there in August, about a 1-inch rain that this farm and none of my other farms caught, and I think that's really what made the difference. Now, I do expect this to be good corn. I expect it to be, you know, maybe 200 bushel per acre, if not 200 bushel per acre. You know, I expect it to be kind of be knocking on the door, at least down here in the bottom. Up there on the hill, I don't know, even though we got a real high yielding variety on top of the hill. I've never planted before. I have no idea what it's going to do. But I do expect this to be some really good corn. We're just trying to get a spot for the truck cut out right now. It's going to be a while before Andy gets over here, because we moved about 6 miles down the road, and we had about a half a load on the grain buggy left. So Andy's got to haul the full load, then he's got to come back, get the half load off the grain buggy, go dump it, and then come over here. So Kelly's still at the other farm with the grain buggy, wait on Andy to show up, and then she'll bring it over here. But Kelly just got over here and I got unloaded, and I just wanted to check the calibration on my yield monitor just to make sure the numbers I'm seeing are just not wild and crazy. And my yield monitor showed I had 17,600 pounds on my combine, and I asked Kelly, what the scales on the grain cart was showing, and she said I think it was 17,520 pounds. So on over 17,000 pounds, my yield monitor is off only 50 pounds, so a bushel. I'd say we got our yield monitor dialed in real good, and everything I've been showing you and telling you, it's accurate. So gotta say, I'm mighty happy about that. Now we're taking off around the edge of this big bottom. I think there's 35 acres in here, and it's a long bottom, and I can put about 2 more dumps on the grain cart and hold 1 on my combine. I don't know if I'll make it all the way around, but we'll see. If I don't make it around, it's going to be a long ways to back up. Well, this is dump number 3 on the grain cart. It's ought to get it filled up, and we've only made it around halfway around that bottom. There ain't no way I'm getting from here up to the other end with 1 combine load, so reckon we're going to turn back around and head the other way In fact, it's gonna be a tight fit to get all of this combine on this buggy. That's a good problem to have, though. How about you, Indy? When you dump this, just head on home for the day. As late in the day is getting along, it's going to take you to get up here. We'll just load everything up, and me and Kelly will head to the house. Also, we'll grab this load in the morning.
Okay, sounds fine. I've got an extra loose battery in the truck with me.
All right, just stick it in the service truck before you head out, please. Ooh, look at that sunset. Another good one. Look at that. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. This corn's a little off compared to the last farm, but you'll never hear me complain about 250 bushel corn. Well, we're gonna get everything loaded up for the morning so Andy can start hauling first thing, get the combine blown off again, and head for the house. We haven't covered near as many acres today as what we've been covering, but that's all right because we sure did haul off a bunch of bushels today, and that's kind of what slowed us down a little bit. We're quickly getting to the point, you know, where Andy with one truck just can't keep up. You know, he's got right here, he's got to go 8 miles back to the grain bins. Takes him 15 minutes to unload, and you know, I've already got everything filled up before the truck even gets back to the grain bins. But that's the downside to only having one truck, but considering we only need a second truck just a very, very minor part of the time, we're just going to keep on rolling with one truck, and I'll just enjoy the fact that I actually had to sit and wait a little bit. So we're going to get everything loaded up. See you back out here in the morning. Well, ready for another day. We just got done servicing the combine. I tell you, summer has arrived back for one last moment of vengeance before it withers away for the year. Tell you what, I'm so done with summer. I'm so sick of sweating, but looks like it's going to be here for the next 7 to 10 days. They're talking about highs 95, 96, 97 degrees. Pretty insane for West Tennessee and mid-September, but hopefully this is summer's last gasp, and then I can start enjoying the weather again for the next few months. Now, touching back on to what I was talking about, you know, Charlie Kirk yesterday with his untimely passing. In the wake of that, President Trump has ordered that all American flags on federal buildings be flown at half-staff until September 14th. Well, my combine is not a federal building, but in respect for Charlie Kirk and everything he stood for, all his principles and values, we're going to fly this flag at half-staff until September 14th. Now, obviously, the way I've got it rigged up, we can't fly it at half-staff, otherwise the flag will be touching, you know, something else, which we definitely don't want. Last thing we want to do is disrespect this flag and everything it stands for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a taller flagpole and then mount the flag at half-staff. Now, a couple people over the years have asked me the question, you know, how exactly I mounted this flag to my combine. You know, it's been on here since, I think I've been flying this flag since 2018. Not this particular one. The flag's been replaced, of course, several times. But anyway, I'm gonna give you a short video on how I mounted it to my combine. This right here is how we mounted it to, you know, a Case IH flagship combine. I made this custom bracket right here. It's bolted up through, I think these were existing holes on the grain tank extension, and just made this and bent it to the right shape. And then I drilled a hole and welded a steel pipe through it. And then on that steel pipe, I welded some flat washers that the ID of those was the exact, or real close to the right diameter of my flagpole here. And what we're using for a flagpole is basically the fiberglass rod off these bicycle flags. And then we just, you know, slide the flagpole through the washers. You see I've got hose clamps on top and bottom there that keep it in place, but also it's loose enough that, you know, it can swivel back and forth as the wind blows. And then we just got a flag, you know, zip tied to that fiberglass pole. So anyway, that's how I did it. Pretty simple. Didn't cost me anything other than a little time to do it. So right now we're going to take this existing flagpole out, make a new taller one, put our flag at half staff, and we'll be ready to go for the day. Also, we're not only going to be flying the flag at half staff in honor of Charlie Kirk, I also want to remember all of our fallen Americans that died 24 years ago in the devastating attacks of September 11th. And you know, my memory's not the best, but I'm sure like most of y'all, I remember exactly what I was doing when I found out. In the fall of 2001, I was a senior in college, and I was getting ready to go to class and walk through the living room of the fraternity house I was living in at the time, and the television was on. Nobody's watching it, but it just happened to be tuned to a news station. And right as I walked by the TV and glanced at it, I saw the second plane actually hit the Twin Towers. And I mean, I just stood there in shock. Like I couldn't comprehend what was actually happening. You know, never been through anything like that before, and just, you know, really shook me just like it did a lot of others. And we lost a bunch of good Americans that day. So anyway, like I said, not only are we going to be doing this in honor of Charlie Kirk, in honor of the thousands of people that lost their lives on that day 24 years ago. All right, that ought to work right there. You know, at first, you know, I just debated just taking the flag down because my flagpole wasn't long enough, and I thought, no, I mean, on today, I mean, folks driving by, especially here in the city of Jackson, going to be a lot of traffic. They need to see that flag flying, so just need to take time to do it properly. And all you guys that notice the details, I'm sure you'll notice that in any drone footage that's placed in the video after this moment, you're probably going to say, that flag's not flying at half staff in the drone video. Well, just to give you a hint, the drone videos that I put in don't necessarily correspond to the exact moment that I'm filming that clip, or the same day, or the same week, or the same year. Yeah, that's right. I save my footage. You know, I shoot new footage every year, but you know, I save all my footage. And if I got some particularly good shots from past years, I have no problem with sticking it in the clip if it looks like it corresponds to what I'm actually doing on that day. So that's just a little behind the scenes insider info for y'all, all of y'all that notice the details. So anyway, guys, before we get started, if y'all don't mind, take a moment of silence with me. Say a prayer for Charlie Kirk's wife and his 2 children. You know, going to have to go throughout life without their father, without their husband. You know, those kids are not going to grow up, you know, knowing their dad, you know, by his voice and actions. You know, they're going to know their dad by pictures and videos and everything, and it's just beyond sad. So please, y'all, take a moment, say a prayer for Charlie Kirk's family. All right. Got about 100 acres left. Let's get it out.